And welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to do a little different video. I've been getting a lot of letters, and I've always, as long as I've been doing this, gotten letters from people who started out, who went out to live this life, and they crashed and burned. And by that I mean they got out in some distance, and they ran out of money. They hated it, they were so afraid. Whatever it was, they got out here into this new life, and it just didn't work for them. It was a miserable, unpleasant experience, and then they quit, they give up, they go home. But they've sold everything, they've gotten rid of everything, and they're so much worse off than they were to begin with. So in this video, I just want to go over some of the things to get you prepared and have you ready to go out and start your new life. There are two reasons. Let me give you the two quick reasons. You don't adjust your lifestyle to your budget. And that's what I see as one of the biggest causes of problems. And the second is, there's an old saying that I love, and the saying is, wherever you go, there you are. And in the 12-step community, it's called doing a geographical. You change your location. You're running away from your problems. But your problems aren't in the location. Your problems aren't out here anywhere. Your problems are in here. And so when you go, your problems go with you. And so you go and move into a van and become a nomad, and whatever was messing your life up before goes into the van with you, and so your life is just as messed up. And so those are the two things that I see as predominantly why people crash and burn. And I want to warn you about those two things. You have to be willing to make drastic changes inside and outside to solve these two problems so that you don't crash and burn. On the outside, you have to be willing to change all of your expectations and your assumptions about life. If your expectation is that you have $5,000 cash, you're going to buy an RV for $3,000, and then you're going to live forever on $1,000 a month income and $2,000 a month as an emergency fund, I will almost guarantee you will crash and burn. Because that's not going to happen with an RV. Your expectations are still too high. Your expectations and needs and wants are the same as they were in an apartment. You're still thinking, I'm going to be on an apartment on wheels. The key thing is to live well below your means. Not what you think you can skip by on your means, and be most comfortable with your means. It's to live well below your means. So using some examples, you have a couple $1,000s, you have a car that's comfortable, but you are determined that you're going to take your new apartment, your apartment comforts into your new life. So you're going to find a $3,000 RV and live in it. You're going to crash and burn, because that RV is going to suck so much of your money out of you, and you're going to be stuck on the road, broke down sometime with no money, and you're going to crash, burn, and go home, and you're going to write me and tell me how I failed you and how I misled you. My thinking is that if you want to be in an RV, you need more like between $1,500 and $2,000 a month, and you need, instead of a $3,000 a month $3,000 total emergency fund, you need more like a $10,000 emergency fund, because RVs are going to be constant problems. If any RV that you can afford for $3,000 to $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000, that's going to mean constant repairs. And if you can do the repairs, then you might be okay, and that's a biggie. But if you can't do the repairs and you're paying someone else to do the repairs, then you better have a big emergency fund to be paying people to do it. Don't think you're going to be living in an RV unless you have a good monthly income and a big emergency fund. Really, folks, that's just what I'm telling you. If you have between $500 and $1,000 a month, or if you have a $3,000 emergency fund, you're okay in a car, a minivan, or a van. The van's preferable, but maybe you don't have the money. Another thing I hear all the time is people writing me with hopeless stories. They don't even have a driver's license, they don't own a car, and they're being kicked out of their apartment. They've been staying with family, and the family is tired of that, and now they have to go. or they have new health problems and they can't, and they've spent all their money on the health problems. Now they can't afford to pay rent. They can't work. What are they going to do? These are hopeless stories. And if your life is a hopeless story where you are, and you move into a van and think you're going to be a nomad and suddenly it's going to be solved, it isn't going to be. Your life will be just as hopeless. Now, you have eliminated the biggest expense you have, but of paying for an apartment, but your life is still a hopeless story, and I don't have miracles to offer you. That's a big thing I see. People who come out here looking for a miracle. I don't have miracles to offer you. Perhaps someday, once the nonprofit is going and we have some good donors and maybe we can help you with a miracle. Those days are not here now, and they're not going to be here for a while. As a guy who lives in a van and poops in a bucket, that's my only qualifications to make any of these videos. A lot of that comes down to wherever you go, there you are. You're transferring your problems to another place. I get regular emails from people, and they write and say, I just can't wait till I come to the RTR, or I can't wait till I come out and camp with you, because then my life is going to be fixed. And it isn't going to be. And becoming a nomad is not going to fix that. Something's going to have to change on the inside of you so that you realize that you're making all these bad decisions, and you stop and you start making good decisions. And maybe people can give you a hand up, but until you stop making those bad decisions, your life's never going to be better. We can give you all the money in the world, and before long, with a series of bad decisions, you're going to be just as bad off as you were. A lot of it is that internal changes that you have to make. So let me give you my advice on how to make these internal changes right now, right where you are, so that when you're on the road, you won't crash and burn. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to suggest is that if your life is full of fear now, when you get out here, your fears will probably come true. I'm not a person that is a big believer in you can think your life into being what you want it to be. But I'm pretty convinced that if your life is full of fear, those things you so greatly fear will come upon you. I think there's a very good chance of that. I'm also a big believer that if you are a person who fills your life with faith and hope and confidence, the odds are pretty good there's going to be a lot of good things in your life. If you look at your life as it's half empty, oh man, things are bad. There's bad people waiting to get me. If I go out and live on the road, there's going to be somebody there's going to be roving bands of murderers and rapists that are going to get me. I know that for certain. Well, if that's kind of your attitude in life, well, you know what? You're going to crash and burn. Your attitude in life is going to determine a whole lot of your success, and you need to understand that. If, on the other hand, if you're open to change and you're open to seeing hope, and that's what I'm in the business of doing, is providing you with hope. You know, one of my favorite Einstein quotes, and as brilliant as Einstein was, he has an amazing, sometime do a Google search, Einstein quotes. He said some really brilliant things. One of the most important things I think he ever said is, he said this is basically the whole quote. The most important question a person can ask and therefore answer to themselves is the universe friendly? If you think the universe is going to be friendly, I think the universe will basically be friendly. Bad things will still happen. They always do. But the universe will be friendly. If you think the universe is unfriendly and you fill your life with fear, that's what you're going to get. If you see the glass as full, as man, it's almost full and I can fill it up the rest of the way real easily. How can I do that? I'm going to look for a solution how I can just get this glass all topped off. And if you live that way, and yeah, there's danger out there, I know there are, but man, if I do this and this and this, and I'm going to make a series of videos on how to avoid danger out here. If I'm careful, if I follow my intuition, if I live in alertness to my surroundings, then yeah, I'm going to be okay. The universe is friendly, and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do due diligence to be safe, and my things will be good. Now your van will still break down, you'll still run into jerks, and you still might run into bad guys. I'm not going to deny that. But with that attitude, you're much, much less likely to crash and burn. That fear will cause you to crash and burn, and you've got to start working on your whole attitude on life about fear and faith and hope, and answering the question, is the universe friendly, with a yes. I believe the universe is friendly, and I'm going to act like it as much as I can. I'm going to use common sense, but the universe is friendly. The how to fix the money problem is simple. Live within your means. Live below your means. If you've got a $800 a month on Social Security, plan on living on $500 and saving some of it every month. That's my advice to you. And how are you going to do that? And don't plan on spending any of it in repairs that you don't absolutely have to. So that means living in your car. If you got a good, reliable car, stay in your car. Live on $500 a month, save a couple hundred a month, then buy a good, reliable minivan, and you're going to be a whole lot more comfortable and better off. But at least you're not going to crash and burn if you stay in your car, which is a good, reliable car. Buy a minivan for $2,000 and it may or may not be reliable, and you might end up crashing and burning on the side of the road and lost and hopeless. The goal here is to not crash and burn by living well below your means, not well above your means. You're going to look at your new life as an adventure and as a quest. And as you quest for your new life, you're going to question everything, every assumption. Whatever your assumptions are now, question them. Be willing to change them. Okay, this is crazy. I don't have to take a shower every day. Why do I have to take a shower every day of my life? What is the assumption there? What is the expectation there that I have to have that? What is the expectation that I have to have a toilet? I can't live without a toilet? Human beings have lived without toilets for millions of years. How did they do it and I can't? It's impossible for me. Maybe you need to you question your expectations. You question your assumptions. Do I really have to have a 1,000 feet RV? Do I have to have a 40-foot RV to be comfortable? Is that really true? Do I have to really have a 25-foot RV to be comfortable? Could I live in an 8x10 cargo trailer and have all the room I could possibly need, all the comforts I need? I won't have all those systems to wear and tear and break down and then I can't afford to fix. I don't know how to fix. I can't afford to pay someone else to fix them. So question your assumptions, question your expectations, be open to changing each and every single one of them. Question your every need. What do you really need in your life? You need to have enough to eat. You need to have shelter from the storms, from the extreme heat, from the extreme cold. You need a certain level of clothing. If you can learn to be content with all your needs, fundamental needs met, you won't crash and burn because you'll be content where you are. And when the bad things happen, I believe the way through will be provided. If you see the universe as friendly, you live a life of faith in a friendly universe, you have the right attitude, you have the minimum and true and realistic expectations, I believe you won't crash and burn. I think the universe will provide during the hard times. I really honestly believe that. Especially if we create the tribe. I'm hoping the tribe will take care of each other. Finally, you have to tremendously question and be willing to change everything you think you want. The needs are certain base levels that just have to be met. You got to eat a certain amount, you got to have shelter, you got to have clothes, so on. But these wants that we have and that our society has trained us and brainwashed us to have, we got to give those up right away. You can't carry any of those, hardly any of those over. There are a few things you can want, but not many. And the less money you have, and the less money you have, the closer you are living on the edge of disaster, of crash and burn. And the less money you have, the closer you're living to the edge of disaster, the less things you can have that you want. You just have to be willing to let go of those and change that. And if you will, internal changes, not just on the outside, changing what you want on the inside, then you won't crash and burn. You don't have to crash and burn, but you could. I'm telling you all these things so that you will take the steps today so that you won't crash and burn in the future. And I believe you don't have to, and that it can be avoided. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I went on and on like I always do. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, tell other people on your social media, there is a new way of life available to you, and you don't have to crash and burn to do it. Okay, we'll talk to you later.